It may as well be recorded. All right, sick. Awesome. All right, well, when was the last time we did this? What was the date?
It was in 2024.
Jesus
Zach was still in
Christ.
the
Holy cow.
Discord.
Zach was still in the server?
Yeah, we talked about him a ton because it was during the Georgia game.
Oh, right. Yes. Yes. Who was at the game? Was there somebody at the game?
Hank was for sure.
Because someone was at the game and was like sending messages that we had to specifically not look at because he was live and we were catching it on like an illegal stream.
I mean, Zach was also sending messages. It got the ending got spoiled for us because I looked at the chat
But
and
no,
Zach.
but it was three tiered. It was someone was at the game, then there were people who were watching it like with a normal TV subscription, and then there was us watching it on like Sports Surge or something or Stream East or something.
You must have reposted it because it says you posted it 4 months ago, and that's just not right.
Yeah, that's not right. But when was that game? That was two college baseball seasons ago.
Yeah, because and Clemson was number 5 in the country, and we were not
So this was
anywhere
during
near.
this was during the football season then. Okay. I got it.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, so it's been over 2 years since we've done a pod. That's absurd. That can never happen
Crazy.
again. I will not let that happen again. I probably will let that happen again. But easiest thing I think we should do to start is just simple introductions. Who are you? How'd you get in the league? And what teams have you been across the duration of this league? And then after we answer that, we can kind of dive into some of the most fun moments that you two have specifically had throughout your tenures because I think we made the list the other day of most entertaining people, and you guys were both in the top 15. So the story of this league is not complete without the two of you. We'll start with Foxy because I knew you first. Who
That's
are
true.
you? What do you do? How long have you been in this league? How did you find the league? And what teams have you been?
So I'm Jared Fox. People call me Foxy though. I am in the league because I played baseball with you, Keegan, and a few other members in the league. I don't know who pitched the idea to me, but I think it was Keegan. I think Keegan's who got me in the league, or maybe it might have been Austin. I don't even know who got me into the league. But I've owned the Ravens, the Cubs, and now the Flying Squirrels. I think that's it, right?
Yep, those are the three. Yeah, so
Yeah,
one
so
season of
that's
one season of Cubs, one season of Ravens, and then now in the Dynasty, 3 seasons of the Flying Squirrels.
and it's been a lot of fun, but it's been a lot of ups and downs. That's for sure. Definitely has its pros and cons for sure.
Yeah. Colby,
I'm Colby. I got in the.
this is the most formal that you've ever been in your life. You feel like you're back in like grade school. Okay, I get a fun, I'll take a
No.
fun fact about you, and then you got to popcorn it to somebody else.
Jeez.
Before I get into how I got into the league, I just want to. The last time I was on the pod, I was drinking some nice Bush Light, and I made a joke that we were sponsored by them. So tonight, I'm brought to you by Tanqueray. So we got a little more sophisticated here. I got into the league through Keegan, which we talked about that the other day, and there is just like everybody got in the league through Keegan pretty much. I played football with him in college, and he knew I was a degenerate gambler, and so he was like, "Hey, dude, you want to like bet some money on some fake baseball?" And I was like, "No, I'm trying to quit." Complete joke. I joined, and now I'm the main character. I've owned the Devil Rays, the Devil Bills, and now the Devil Saints. We are a proud franchise. We haven't actually had that much success. People get confused because of the World Series run, but like the Devil Bills and Devil Rays were both notoriously messes. And yeah, that's me.
I think there's value in being a mess. Like I think Foxy can attest to that too because his Cubs were an absolute
Terrible.
mess. They were not very good at baseball, but I think
Terrible.
Jazz almost won the MVP and
Jazz
there were
almost won the home run derby and was in MVP race.
yes, and then there were plenty of Colin McHugh moments, whether he was playing center field or like actually pitching like he was supposed to. He had some moments. So there are like people say all the time, I think there's more entertainment when you're bad than honestly any other time because either you're sweating or you're just so bad that you're enjoying yourself and doing stupid shit. So I
I
don't
will
know.
say I didn't have fun this season when I was bad because I just wasn't like fun bad. But yeah, the Devil Bills, like the back half of the Devil Bills season when I started running the 5 QB system was electric stuff. That was my favorite
Did you guys
part.
play each other that year?
I don't
No,
think so.
no.
No, you
No.
didn't. I'm looking at the schedule now. No, you did not. Okay, Fox, give me just a rundown of your 3 to 5 favorite moments that you've been a part of in the league, whether it's managing, watching, whatever it might be.
I, for one, don't have a lot of watching experience. I find myself struggling to get into the stream when I'm not actually playing, which I'm working on getting better at. My favorite playing moment, I think, was last season beating Ray in the playoffs. That was
No.
probably a top. That was probably my top moment. You know, being the underdog and coming out on top of that one. Number two, God, I don't know. I think Jazz's season was fun to watch. Even though we were terrible, Jazz was fun. Getting to play with the Ravens and having, even though Lamar was god awful, uh, having having that offense that I did was still a lot of fun. There's so many memories that it's hard to think of them all. But there's new memories every day.
I don't even know how to start to ask Colby this question because there's
Yeah, good
just
luck.
so
Good
every at the
luck.
end of every season, or at least after the end of our original baseball season and then our redraft football season. So we did one season of each with no dynasty component. We did a moments bracket, and it's just full of things that happened either in Colby's games or while he's spectating other games. So it's largely impossible to pick I'll limit you to one a season. And I know we kind of talked
Yeah.
about this the other day. One a season. You don't it doesn't have to be you playing. It can be just
Yeah.
one moment a season that stands out from you. So go ahead.
That's a good way to do it, 'cause otherwise I'll just talk for the rest of this time. Also, before I get into it though, we should do another bracket, I think, before the WBC. I think that would be a
Okay.
good time for a new bracket.
That makes sense. Okay.
Which I don't know that I have a winner right now.
I don't know. Yeah, is there something that stands out before we get into your
Well,
moments that would be what is
well,
your dynasty number one right
uh,
now?
yeah, it's it's we don't have to talk about what it actually is, right?
I wasn't gonna. Let's go. Not necessarily on field, but during games. I guess we'll go, or in the
Yeah.
context of the league and not
Well,
outsiders.
yeah. That's not quite an outsider or whatever, but also like the Cam and Colby beef was not like really legal. I guess the game happened, but
No, the game happened. No, I
um,
mean things that happened like
yeah, yeah,
within the
yeah.
server count.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm
Nothing
saying.
outside the server.
I don't think I have one because most of my main character stuff right now is just like always yapping.
Well, I don't even mean you. I just mean what is the number one
Oh,
overall
what's the
seed? Like,
number
what's the
one?
favorite? What's the first thing that you think of as like a dynasty baseball moment? Either of you.
It's so hard
Oh, it's hard.
because there's 3 seasons. We're 3 seasons deep, so like it's hard to kind of
But
remember.
Yeah.
we're only like 18 months, so it's
The
only
first
like
thing that came to my head was the Gunner Hunter moment where he didn't like that. It was
that's
the
on
World
there. That's up
Series,
there,
and
I think.
that's the World Series, and it's a huge hit. But that's not like a fun. It was kind of funny in the moment, but it's
But
not like
is that bigger than McNeil?
I don't know
I
that
know
a lot of
it was
people.
a different, I mean, similar round, but I don't know.
I don't
That
know that a lot
obviously
of
is a
people like.
top three seed.
I don't know that a lot of people outside of me and Landon are even like real. I mean, McNeil. You talked about this yesterday. McNeil gets beat by the OJ thing easily. They're basically the same thing, but like
That's true.
it's way funnier because it's OJ.
It was way funnier because it was OJ. So that's, yeah, I still wouldn't consider that like my number one. I'm
I
trying,
don't
like,
think there's like a favorite.
there wasn't a signature moment, I wouldn't say, in the season one World Series. I mean, there was, like, the Kerry Carpenter walk-off was definitely the signature moment of that World Series, but it wasn't like
Sure.
oh my God, like, I don't know that it was game four, and I know it put you up 3-1, but it wasn't, you know, that
Well,
wasn't like the spotlight moment, I don't think, of the whole dynasty so far.
and the winners of the old brackets weren't like game moments.
No, they weren't game
They
moments,
were
and we haven't had one of those. Like we've talked about, there
well,
hasn't really been a villain since the end of football, and there are reasons to miss that, and also reasons to enjoy that we don't have
Mhm.
an asshole like
yeah.
that. But even when Cam was being an asshole, like he wasn't as
No,
intolerable as some
no.
of the
And
others
we
have
all
been.
agreed he was not as bad as Cal Bronner.
Or Zach, correct?
Um, but yeah, I think that's why I think I might have a winner, honestly. But
The problem is, do enough people know the background on that? Like Fox has no idea what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
we
Which
like
one?
he knows who she is.
He
Who?
does.
Ellie Cooper.
Yeah.
my trophy.
Yeah, he was there. He was at
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was there.
the Glad's game is probably up there. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah,
not.
Glasgow game was elite for sure.
I think you made enough jokes about it in there, Matt, where like enough people are kind of aware. I guess it depends on if you even put it on the bracket, which like I think I would probably lean no at this
I think so
point.
too. I would think I
But
would. I mean, I think she makes the bracket, but I don't think that makes the bracket. I
yeah,
think
that's
that's
fair.
non-league and her joining the server and becoming the first overall pick, if that's
Well,
the way it plays out.
that might be what wins though, is just her.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
that's been the biggest like and that's in the same vein of like the Cam and Colby and the getting Calbron out.
and in that case, yeah, I would think it would be you that just wins another moments bracket if that's the way that it falls. But let's shift back to
Yeah.
one a season. You've had 5 seasons in this league now. I pick a moment from each season that stands out for you as a spectator or as a player, manager, whatever it may be.
Yeah. Devil Rays was so long ago. Is it like on field stuff?
remember.
Sure, it's got to be the beef. It's got to be the beef with Cam, like the Brewers game. For those
Yeah,
uninitiated,
you can dig into those too because I'm.
yeah. 'Cause I mean, a lot of people were here for it,
But
and
even a lot of the people who joined us for Dynasty Baseball are completely unaware of what that was.
yeah. I
So
mean, we've
it's
talked about it though, but like for those who are interested in knowing, me and Cam immediately hated each other when we joined the league. Like so basically what was happening was during the draft, it was taking a long time for people to pick, and Cam was being super fucking annoying about it. And so I was like, "Hey Cam," it wasn't even me that was holding things up. I was always quick with my pick. I was just like doing it for other people. I was like, "Cam, could you shut the fuck up, man?" And he didn't like me, and we just like the entire first season we were just butting heads, and then we played game 7. It was early in the season. And I was like, "Hey Cam, let's throw $100 on this, you little fucking pussy." And then he, for the record, I love Cam now, but he like pussied around about it. He was like, "Oh, well, you're gonna throw Shohei Ohtani, and I'm just gonna lose." And I was like, "You know what? Fine. I have Ohtani available. You can get 79 overall Framber Valdez instead,
is that
and
who
I'll
it
still
was?
beat you."
No,
I think it was either him or who's the other Astros pitcher that I always getting confused with.
it wasn't Kikuchi.
Um, I think
What's
it
his
was
name?
Framber.
I don't think. No, you didn't have Fromber. The girls
No,
had
what's his
Fromber. Fromber
face?
was on the Pirates, so it definitely wasn't
Oh, so
Fromber.
it was another Astros pitcher that
No, Urquidy. It was Urquidy.
yes, Jose
It was Jose
Urquidy.
Urquidy
Yes.
against John
The
Means. I
Kitty.
think were the starters in that game.
Yeah, yeah, it was Shove Kitty. That's right. That's on me. Sorry, Framber. Didn't mean to disrespect. I guess sorry to Jose more so. But anyways, yeah, I was like, I'll throw Urquidy, and you like, and if you'll make the bet, and he was like, okay, I'll make that bet because then he was favored to win. Like, that's I love Cam now. Absolute vagina move. Um, but so we play, and I get down pretty big early, right? It was like 5-0.
Oh, I don't know if
Um,
it was that. Hang on. This is exactly why I pulled this up because
yeah, I got
let's
down
see.
early. I was hammered for that game. That was the first time I really
You were
drank for a game, I
down.
think.
No, you were down 6-0.
It's like something, yeah. At some point, Will Myers a hit and run
Bottom of the
home
third.
run, which is awesome.
You scored 8 runs in the bottom of the third inning.
Hmm.
And for those that are unaware with the Devil franchise, we don't score other than the Bills. Like I've never built an offense. That's not how I play this game. That's got to be the most runs I've ever scored in an inning.
Yeah, Dylan Moore has scored in
I
the game.
think 8 is probably the most you've ever scored in an inning. I don't have like a fact check on that now, but I would assume that that's the case.
Yeah, but I got hammered for that game, and honestly, probably after that inning, don't remember really anything else from it. Like even
There
the
really
Cam.
wasn't a whole lot that happened after that.
Yeah.
It was eight. Cam cut it to 8-6 in the or 8-7 in the fifth, and he didn't score for the last 4 innings. You scored 3 runs in the seventh, and at that point, it was just kind of over. But I want to say you and him sort of patched it up at that point. Like not necessarily like there was
No, during that game, absolutely not.
no, not during the game, but I mean like in the back half of the season, you guys were certainly less contentious with each other than you were in the first half.
I think in the back half of that season, he kept trying to like be like, "Hey, Colby, let's be friends," and I was like, "No."
I do remember that, but I don't think you went after him as much as you did.
No, but like, but he would still, he would like try to like be buddy. And I was like, nope, I don't like you. I remember I tell this all the time, but like the first time I met Matt in person, the first thing I said to him was not like, hey, or like, good to meet you. I was gonna be like, this Cam dude fucking sucks.
Sure, I can't confirm that
Uh,
happened.
That was a funny time. But we patched things up eventually. It was when the Sharks merge happened. I was like, Cam, we can be friends if you send me a free pair of shorts. And he did.
Jeez.
Okay, so that covers season zero.
Yeah.
Let's move on to football. I don't even, I mean, there's the obvious answer, but
We have to go with the obvious answer,
go ahead.
but there was a lot. The Bills was by far the most fun of my teams.
But this isn't even like this has nothing to do with the Bills.
I know, but like I mean, this has to be the moment,
All
right?
right, before you tell this story, Fox, you and Austin are close enough. How much of this story are you aware of, this Dolphins playoff story? Because obviously you
Are you
were
talking about like the ownership, like quote unquote
yes,
scandal?
yes.
I didn't, I don't know. Like I don't remember a lot of it now. I remember during it, I was aware of like enough to know what was going on, but I didn't like. I don't think I ever talked to him on the side that much about it, but I definitely know like about it.
Okay, Colby, go ahead and where do you start this story? Week 18, probably?
Well, I think it's got to kind of start with just the background of like Calderon buying a portion of the
Well,
Dolphins.
I think you can even start. Let's even start. Let's start back at the draft, honestly.
Let's start with who Calderon is.
Well, I was gonna say we can start with who Austin is because that
Yeah, yeah,
matters.
Yeah,
that's
that
true.
matters more. I
That's
think.
kind of
Yeah,
where
that
you get
mattered
to
a
this.
lot.
You go back to the draft. This is a blind auction draft. So every player in the National Football League is available for auction. Blind though, so none of the teams know who they're bidding against specifically. Everyone has like a code that they place their bids under. And so Austin, who owns the Dolphins, ends up with $1,005 payroll. He actually wasn't the first one, and I looked back at this the other day. He wasn't the first one to bloat the pot and like price jump all the players. That was actually the Texans.
Oh, that's right.
That
I was
was
trying
C.
to remember who it
Jackson.
was.
But he was the first one to do it, and he at some point had a payroll of over $1,000 that obviously came down as players started to go off the board. But the Dolphins ended up with $1,005 payroll with no quarterback. And really that's probably all that needs to be said for the draft portion of it. However, Austin is a notoriously terrible general manager, and I would say by the midway point of that season, um, I don't know how many exactly the players they traded away, but he panic traded for Stafford. They panic traded for Dak, maybe even two. I can't remember. There were a lot of different moves that made that Dolphins team a lot worse than they were after the draft, even without a quarterback.
Well, I think an important note to kind of paint the picture of how Austin is as a general manager is he spent $1,000 in a league where the median team was what, like 200 maybe.
Yeah,
Probably
it
something
was
like
a
that.
lot
Yeah.
lower than it was now.
Nobody else was even like I don't think 500 maybe.
No, the Ravens definitely were.
Um,
Yeah, I was in the
I can look.
sevens, I think.
but so
The
he did
Ravens
that, and then his
were
quarterback coming out of the draft was like,
Deshaun.
was it Deshaun?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Like
that
78
can't
overall Deshaun or something like that. And I mean, it
yeah
wasn't
that
as
can't
bad as he is
happen.
now, but yeah. So he had no quarterback, and he, just went through quarterback after quarterback during the regular season. Yeah, Fox, you were number two in spending at
What
$630.
was my code? Oh, card.
You were card. Yeah,
What was
it was based on everyone's quarterbacks for the real life team of what roster or who you had. So like, you were the Ravens, so we did card for Lamar Jackson, the Louisville Cardinal. Um,
okay.
but I'm trying to see. So like Landon, who I guess we'll get to at some point during the story, was 23rd in spending at $156. So the median spend was upper ones, probably.
Yeah.
But yes, at some point during that season, Austin had traded away multiple pieces. By the end of the season, he had no linebackers on his team that were above like a 70 overall. He had maybe stacked receivers, a stacked offensive line. But linebackers were very important because it was so run heavy that not having any linebackers was really, really bad.
Need
And he
Chad
traded
Dillon.
those linebackers away to try to fix the quarterback situation, amongst other things. But that probably covers who Austin is. Now we can kind of get to the villain of sort of that entire season.
Yeah.
And I'll let Colby kind of take this part away because
Yeah, so you might need to help in like fill in some gaps
I can
on
fill in
things I might
gaps.
not be aware of. But so Calderon is basically like a know-it-all and kind of thinks he knows everything. He notoriously was very pumping his chest about his idea to play Rondell Moore at running back, which was fun. Rest in peace, Rondell Moore.
Hmm.
Um, but and he just kind of he rubbed people the wrong way. I wasn't at the Panthers game, but I feel like that was the first time when like he kind of was like really. I know Keegan hated him right away, but Keegan notoriously hates everybody. Um,
Yeah.
uh, but at the Panthers game, I guess who started it, Matt? You were there.
So there was some shit talk going back and forth earlier on at that point. The Panthers were 8-1 going into that game. The Bears were 4-4, 4-5 even. Yeah, 4-5. I'm looking at it now. But that he had some grand scheme to stop Michelle Obama, and he's gonna hold her to whatever, however many yards and whatever it may have been. Calvin essentially showed up to that game just talking shit the whole first half. At some point, I think it went back and forth in the first quarter, I want to say, and then as the game went on, like it was close in the first half, and the Panthers just kind of didn't, keep fighting back. They didn't. They just went on mute. I'm looking for like the um, moments bracket description of this, so I make sure I get everything correct. What was that gonna be? The Bears Panthers. Does that match up? And I can read the kind of description. Here we go. So, the yeah, 4-5 Bears, 8-1 Panthers, week 10. Calvin starts talking trash immediately, logs in and asks, "Hey, talk shit," like basically begging them to talk shit to him, asking where Coop is, who was a friend of the Panthers owners was logging into games and talking shit to people too. So they start screaming at each other basically until kickoff. And then the Panthers go on mute to discuss all their play calling stuff. They're on the phone with each other outside the Discord call when they're talking through strategy. But Calvin is just continuing to talk to himself, basically, shit talking to himself. No one's listening to him. They're not engaging with him. It's a 6-3 Panthers lead at half. Panthers get the ball to start the third quarter and score to make it 13-3. And then the Panthers start talking shit back. They win the game 20-10. And after the game, he tells one of the Panthers owners that he hopes his mom gets paralyzed. And then it just goes off the rails. Like they're screaming at each other. This was the birth of the shit talk channel in the Discord server.
Oh yeah.
And then Calvin releases his quote unquote game plan for stopping the Panthers. And the Panthers did not lose again the rest of the season. So that is sort of Calvin in a nutshell, based on his behavior in that one game alone.
And that covers Calibron. Just to really demonstrate again the villainy of him, he also still owes Matt money from a fantasy
Yes,
league.
he sure does. Yes, he offered he. I have talked to him a couple times since when he has like randomly Discord DM me and be like, "Oh hey, I've seen your league stuff on social media or I've seen your stream or whatever like that." He can talk about Austin's talked to me about helping run his team again next year, and I just tell him like, dude, you owe me money. Like, you're not getting back in the league until you owe me money. So like, I respectfully let me read my DMs with him. Let me air this out since the last time I talked to him.
Still follows me on Instagram.
This was January. I said, hey, I'm not really opposed to you helping out Austin. Doesn't really make any sense for him to add you as a co-owner right now. He's not very competitive. Blah 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 blah. And he was like, "Hey, we'll get to that. I guess the part of the Dolphins part of the story eventually." But I was like, "Hey, I can't in good conscience have you back in the NGBA without you having paid me for another fantasy league." Which in that fantasy league, he was 0-6, maybe 0-7 in a fantasy football league, and at that point, he benched all of his players to try and help out Austin, basically. And we made him start, a lineup that was actually playable. We forced all of his players who had the highest projected point totals for the week back into his lineup. And he left the league and said, I'm not paying you because this violates the contract of the league that you can't edit my lineup, which I don't understand why that is the issue and not benching your players to give other teams free wins and picking and choosing who you try to beat, basically. But anyways, I said, yeah, I can't have you in good conscience back in the NGBA until you pay me and it's like $60. The debt that he owes me. It's almost nothing, but and then
There we go.
his response was, how about I send you $20 cash as an act of good faith?
That's
And at
crazy.
that point, I said, I found the number. It's $60 even. Do with that information what you will. But Haven't heard from him since January, but yes,
That's crazy.
he does still owe me money.
Such a funny hill to die on.
Yes, very, very, very funny hill to die on. But anyways, what week do we think it was when he bought his stake in the Dolphins?
I think it was probably right after the Panthers game because I think what fueled it was he wanted a chance to beat the Panthers.
That sounds about right. So that was week 10. So that the timeline would add up there. And I could probably look at the Dolphins schedule and figure out when he started calling plays. Yeah, the Dolphins at the week after week 11, the Dolphins were 5-5. No, 5-6. But they had their bye in week 10. That doesn't even make any
This
sense. They
feels
got one,
impossible
two,
to be
three.
under 500 at any
He was
point.
four.
And
He was
two.
4-6 after week 10. After week 11, sorry, and with his bye week already. And then they won 6 of 7 to end the season. I don't know when he started calling plays specifically in that stretch, but it was probably week 12 because he traded Brees back to the Dolphins. So that makes sense as the run them going on the run after. So Calvin bought what was it 30%? I don't remember what the number was.
Was it that high? It
It
couldn't have
was
been
like
that high.
no, it was a good chunk.
No, because what we know about like how it all went down
So
later,
you ended up with 10 and Cam. I thought Cam bought Did you end up with 20?
we had to get 50, and between me and Cam, well, I sold my 10 to Cam for nothing. We can get to that
So
later.
Cam
But
bought 40? Yeah. So
we ended up with 50. There's no way Austin was down to 20%.
I think he was. I
I
don't
think he
know.
was down to like he didn't own that team at all, basically. Because I remember he weaseled his way out to be like not even a majority owner. Like it wasn't his team
Well, he
anymore.
wasn't majority owner. That's the whole point. We'll get into that. But
So I don't know what Yeah, I'm trying to look. Like I don't even know.
it would have been. It was technically Cam technically ended with 51% of equity because we also had Gavin's 1%,
Correct.
which I still don't know
Yes.
why he got involved. But
I know Gavin bought it, but I just don't remember how
But
much.
anyways, long story short, Calderon bought a portion of the Dolphins basically because his season was over, and he still wanted to like have a
Here we
team.
go. I have it. Calvin bought 20% in the Dolphins before week 12 for $210. So Calvin had 20%, and Austin also sold Gavin 1% for $10. So
Math adds up.
at week 12, Austin had 79% equity in his own team. Let's move into week 18 now, where
Yeah, I can take it from here. I think.
the Dolphins are, oh God. I mean, there was a big cluster. The Dolphins were 9-7, I guess. I think 9-7 going into the final week.
Would it have been 8-8?
No, because they wouldn't. No, I think they finished 9. I think they would have. Yeah, they were not. I'm looking at it right now. They were 9-7 going into the last
Okay.
week of the season. But go ahead.
So essentially, what it came down to, the Devil Bills got eliminated after a miraculous run. So we started 0-8. I feel like this is important context because it's the reason why Austin was a little nervous. We started 0-8, and then we shifted to a five quarterback system, which we don't have to get into the details of that.
You started 0-7, by the way.
0-7, sorry. But we railed off
8 out of 9.
8 out of 9. Yes, we
You were
won
eight.
eight
You
of
were eight
nine
and eight. You were
games.
8-8 going into week 18.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But it was not enough to stay in the playoff race. We actually were in it going into week 18, but somebody won early that like
It was
eliminated.
either early week 18 or late week 17 that eliminated you.
I want
But
to say
yeah.
it was the Bengals winning that eliminated me, but that's not here nor there. I
No,
was
Bengals are
eliminated
in
by the
mine, I
time.
think. Sorry, I'm empty.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I don't think it was the Bengals because the Bengals
Oh
beat the
yeah.
Chiefs in week 17 and they were in contention for the division. It was either I think it was a Raiders win somehow, or Raiders loss somehow. I think maybe the Raiders 51-0 over Cam. Oh no, it was the Raiders losing to the Broncos
Hmm.
with Jameis starting because he had already clinched the spot and him dropping to 9-8 meant you couldn't have the tiebreaker over him somehow. Oh yeah, because he beat you in week 2. That's what it was.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. Like the Devil Bills are missing the playoffs, so we have nothing to play for, but we're the hottest team in football. We're gnarly. Um, and Austin, it came down to basically if Austin lost and Keegan won, I think Austin was going to miss the playoffs.
It was if Austin
So
lost. I think it was if Austin lost and Keegan lost. Yes, because Keegan won in that week, and that's what's actually sealed it for Austin.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It was
yeah, because
Keegan against
Keegan
that.
was
It was
gonna.
Keegan against it was Titans Jags.
Yes, yeah, Keegan didn't make the playoffs. That makes sense. But importantly, like Keegan kind of had control over the Dolphins if they lost. Like, 'cause if he just throws that game,
Correct. It would have kept the
then
Dolphins out of the
then
playoffs and helped the
yeah.
Chargers out was probably what the thought process was. But
So I reached out to Keegan. I was like, Keegan, I need you to threaten Austin that you're going to throw this game if he loses, so that he'll like make me an offer and I can like get some money out of this because I'm in a position of power right now. And he does. And Austin reached out to me and we negotiated for a while and we landed on I just get te I think I got some cash too. I think I might have got like $200. Uh,
yeah, you got 20% and some cash, I think.
yeah, I don't remember how much cash I got, but he basically bought me off to throw the game. Um, which was very funny because then Keegan just turned around and won his game and didn't throw it.
So I actually think so. The another key point of context here was going into week 18. That was a very big point of contention. Was what order should the teams play in?
Mhm.
Because just to avoid certain teams throwing for certain matchups that could keep somebody out of the playoffs. And there was a specific order that was set, and that
Remember
Titans
that?
Jaguar, the Titans beat the Jaguars, which clinched the Dolphins a spot before Austin agreed to those terms. That was specifically a part of it. Was
No, no, it wasn't before he agreed to the terms. He had agreed to the terms, but he
it
could have easily just backed out.
correct? Yes,
Um,
he could have waited. That Dolphins Bills game was slated to happen after the
that's right.
Jaguars Titans game, specifically so that Keegan could not do that. But um, yes, that he Austin agreed to terms before that game was played. Keegan then went on to win that game, eliminate the Jaguars. The Dolphins clinched the playoff spot, and then the Bills threw the game to the Dolphins in return for a 20% stake in the team, and a certain amount of cash that I don't remember. The Dolphins only won that game, so the stakes of the agreement were that every time the Bills got the ball, they would punt immediately.
yeah.
And the final score of that game was somehow 27-7. I think the Dolphins threw a pick six, and they only somehow scored 27 points against the team that punted
Every time I had the ball.
every time they had the ball.
And the Bills famously could not play defense, even when we were
Correct.
like trying to win games.
Yes, they gave up a lot of points, especially early season. But that takes us to the wild card round of the playoffs. So the Dolphins end up the 5 seed, I believe. They ended up the top wild card because Baltimore ended up six to play the 3 seeded Texans, and the Raiders ended up seventh to play the 2 seeded Patriots. So Miami is traveling to Cincinnati, who
Oh,
won the
sorry, Matt. Before we get too far into this game, because this is
yep.
important context for like why things went down the way they did. Part of the negotiations with Austin was that I wanted to be part of the play calling because I was very well known around the league as one of the better play callers, and I play called for other teams just for fun. But I negotiated with that. He's like, yeah, absolutely, we want you to do that. I was like, cool. I just want to be part of the process, and
Yep.
then I'll let you take over.
So going into week 18, the Ravens actually had control of that 4 seed. They lost a game on purpose to avoid the Dolphins. So the Dolphins ended up traveling to Cincinnati for the wild card game. At that point in time, Austin had 59% equity in his own team. Calvin had 20%, Colby had 20%, and Gavin had 1%. Colby was under the impression that he was going to be part of the play calling process, and Gavin was under the impression that he was going to get one drive per game as part of his 1%, which I don't know how that was negotiated, but I mean,
Jesus.
but it was promised to him, and going into that game, Austin told him he was going to get it. So we can get into the game a little bit, I guess, as well, if you want. I'm sure you may remember a little bit more of it than I do.
I don't remember much about the actual game itself.
Let me see if I can find the moments bracket entry for it so I can read.
I know at some point in the first half, Calvin like tries to call Calvin like tried to switch a play or something like that. He got mad at you
Yes.
because like I think he wanted to shift something on his defense after he saw the play call, and he thought, or was that is that how it went
No,
down?
okay, here we go. So I got it. So, the Dolphins have the ball. They're up seven at the end of the first half. They're up seven, going to score again. Uh, the play clock was running down because he and Austin were arguing, and Calvin tried to take a timeout, but with Mike delay, like there was just no way he was getting the timeout in. Like I think he called the timeout with literally 1 second left on the play clock. By the time I heard it, I couldn't then hit the button. So he got a delay of game. They took a delay of game. And then he starts yelling again, yelling at me about how I need to get the timeout in faster and that the Bengals shouldn't be able to accept that penalty. And they almost take another delay of game while Calvin's arguing. Austin has to tell Calvin to shut up and to pick a play. So as you guys are going in to score, uh, they're not listening to you, Colby. Calvin's calling
at
the play.
all.
Calvin's not really listening to Austin either. It's really just him calling the shots. So you spitefully call timeout.
Yeah,
Uh,
so
Go
very
ahead.
importantly, Austin and Calvin like had a conversation and we're like, yeah, I think we just take this into the half. Like, I don't think we want to risk giving the ball back. Like, they're making a
I
smart
think they were gonna.
decision.
You think you guys were gonna take maybe take the three because you were gonna. You scored. You kicked a field
Yeah.
goal at the end of the half.
But they were like, let's not call the timeout. And I technically had, as far as Matt knew, play calling abilities. As I was like, hey Matt, can I get a timeout?
I don't even think you said it like that. I think you literally said timeout, 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 or something like that. Like you started saying timeout, and so I mean, again,
I wish we had this clip so bad.
so obviously I knew it was you by the end of you saying that, but at the beginning of you saying that, it just sounded like timeout. So like I was ready to hit the button because
Well,
clock was
also, well,
running.
you first of all, you'd already missed the timeout and gotten scolded for it.
Correct. Yes, and that's what I explained to him. I was like, you've already
From
yelled at
another
me
one,
for not calling your
not taking one.
timeout when, yeah. So like when I hear timeout from somebody in your ownership group, I'm going to call timeout. Like Calvin at that point had as much say in play calling as you did. Austin technically was able to make the final decision because he had the most equity. But if Calvin was able to call timeouts with 20% equity, then so were you. So you called the timeout, um, and at that point, Calvin goes off on you. Austin is going off on you. You start coaching the Bengals then.
Well, I didn't coach the Bengals. Landon likes to call his plays. He's a good play caller too, but he gave me flip ability. I got to flip the play if I felt like we should be running
Yes,
the
but you
inside.
also had him defend the shot save clock with
Yeah,
the zone match. Um,
yeah, because they banished me. They told Matt like no more listening to Colby, and I was like, hey Landon, you want my help?
well, no, they were gonna have you muted,
Yes.
was what it was. They were gonna
Yeah,
have you because Austin had 59%. Austin could do whatever he wanted, but Calvin basically convinced Austin to have you muted. And then you said Landon said or whatever something like that. You said to him like, "Oh, hey Landon, do you want me to help you call plays?" And Landon's like, "Yeah, I'd like Colby to I'd specifically like Colby to be unmuted when I have the ball, please," or something like that. So Colby
love
got to
Landon for
stay.
that.
I don't think I knew that part of the story. That's
Yes.
crazy.
Um,
I think that's the first time me and Landon ever really like chatted it up. Like we've been in the league together before, but I don't know that we'd ever interacted in any meaningful capacity
Outside of a
beforehand.
ball go far capacity, probably not.
Yeah.
So anyways, that game ends up getting close. The Bengals tie it in the second half, but the Dolphins end up winning on a walk-off field goal. And we probably stayed on for 30 minutes after the game, just Calvin berating me for
Yeah.
letting Colby help with the Bengals and the timeout, and just thought he thought that I was being unfair and helping giving the Bengals advantages when they would make late substitutions or late whatever it may have been. But he made a lot of allegations that I did not appreciate. It turns out Colby did not appreciate them either, and this is where the rest of this story comes in.
Well, to be fair, Matt, I didn't like that he was saying it about you, but it was entirely because I felt slighted by not getting the play calling in.
Oh no, for
Um,
sure, for sure. But I don't think if he was an asshole to me that you would have.
here's what it comes down to, Matt. If he's not an asshole to you, we're not still on the call afterwards because he left the call. Like him and Austin left, and me and you stayed on, and we're still. I think Keegan was in there too, and Landon probably. We were just like kind of talking about it, and that's when Cam popped in, our good friend Cam. And me and him are cool now, but we were giving him the rundown, and then I had an idea. I was like, Cam, if I like you should go to Austin and see if you can buy enough equity where me and you are like the majority ownership so we can mute Calfron next game. It'd be really funny. Uh he was like, yeah, I'll do it. So over the next few days, like we had texted about it, and he had texted with Austin, and Austin was asking for a lot of money, probably too much money for the amount of equity Cam was getting. But I was like, you know what? Austin paid me like $100 as part of our deal, you can have that to give to him as part of the payment. Because I just really wanted him out of the. I was set up like other important context. I was set up with the amount of equity I had and what I'd won with the Bills, where I was gonna profit like I think like $50 if they lost the next playoff game or something like that. It was basically a break even situation.
Yeah.
But obviously I came out of that because I had to pay an extra $100 to Cam. I ended up losing money on the league. Um, but so, and Austin is getting advice from Cal Brown this entire time, and he said to Cam one night, it was looking like it just wasn't going to happen one night. Because he said to Cam like, "No, if I sell you that much, I won't have control anymore." Like, which was the whole point. But Austin saw the plan. And then I went to bed that night and I woke up in the morning to like 15 texts from Cam, like, dude, he agreed. He, he, like, we're in. And I was
So
like,
the deal was 30% that Cam bought. I don't remember what the number was that he bought it for. Maybe like $400. He overpaid for it. Um, but there was a handshake agreement as part of it that Austin would retain play calling abilities.
I forgot
Which,
about that.
well, that's what got him to do it, is because you guys obviously were slighted that you were promised play calling abilities when you got your percentage of the team, and so was Gavin. And so you to get Austin to agree to the deal, you guys told him that he could still have play calling responsibilities. So he ended up with it's only what? It was only 29% was all that he
Yeah,
owned. Calvin owned 20%. And then Colby gave Cam his 20% equity
for a
and
dollar.
for $1, and then Cam purchased Gavin's equity for $1.
Just so we could have it all concentrated.
Yep. So Cam became the 51% majority owner of the team. And then you guys basically told Calvin, like, don't show up, you know. I mean, you didn't say it to him,
No, no,
but
I most certainly did not tell him to show
no,
up. The whole
correct. But
point was to like,
you guys dropped like press releases so he knew that Cam had majority ownership at that point.
I don't think we let it slip. I don't think we let it slip that we were going to call plays. I think we were letting Austin think that, and then Cal Brown like figured it out on his own. Because the plan for me was to have him show up and try to call plays, so I could be like, "Hey, Matt, could you mute him?"
Yes,
Um,
that was the goal, but he blew up before that. So yeah, that is to a T the hostile takeover as it
yeah,
is referred.
I just call it
Um,
the coup, but
yeah. So Colby, I think you called all the plays.
I did call all the plays,
You
and
did
I made a
you
mistake.
gave Gavin a drive.
Yep, I made a mistake with the defenses. I didn't know like the defense. I didn't know defensive ball, as we know, because the Bills gave 1 billion points. I was thinking like a real football mind and being like, hey, we have fucking shit linebackers. Let's maybe not run a 4-3 or a 3-4. Let's not throw four linebackers on the field. But that doesn't work when you can just run the ball up your throat because it's Madden.
Yeah. So you changed the playbook to a 4-3. So you
Yeah,
ended up with less linebackers in the field,
yeah.
and just could not stop the run.
Which logically makes sense if it's not Madden, but I hadn't,
Yeah, it's EA.
yeah. Also like I revealed to me afterwards. Yeah, I think I was running that with the Bills too. Probably the reason we didn't stop anything.
Yeah. So the
Mhm.
Dolphins, after the hostile takeover, the coup, whatever you want to call it, the Dolphins immediately lost their next playoff game. And so Cam and Colby probably did not come out ahead on their purchase, but
I think Cam did because he like kind of overpaid, but I ate enough of it. I think where he was fine.
he didn't get killed on it, but I don't think he profited on it.
Um, I'll also say incredibly funny part of this to me, and this happened with Zach a little bit too. I No one ever blames me in these situations. Like Cam got all the blame for the defense thing, but that
Yes.
was my idea, and he just agreed and then he was the one who happened to tell everybody. But like that was my idea. I was like, our linebackers suck. Um, my play calling was fine in that game. I think the Chargers just scored every time they had the ball.
I don't think they went up 14-0, but yeah, I don't know. I think they may have punted once, but I'm not sure. I think there were only 4 or 5 possessions in that 5 possessions probably each in that game.
It
So
was a very shortened game because they could just run the ball the
they
entire
chewed
time.
well, they also chewed clock
Um,
the whole game as well.
yeah.
They shortened it as best they could.
But more to that point too, that like nobody blames me. Calvin still to this day. like does not he like he still kind of beefs with Matt a little bit. I think he's trying to reconcile there. Like he at no point blamed me, which was crazy because it was like very clearly I don't mean to like be like the narcissist or whatever. That was my plan. I did that. It required a lot of help, but like I put that into motion, and he just like he still DMs me sometimes. Just like we're buddies, which is fine. Like he's like I don't care for him as a person, but I don't. There's plenty of people that talk to me that I don't.
All right, I think that covers football in that 30
Yeah,
minute that 30
yeah.
minute
Well, I mean that
moment.
had to be covered.
It had to.
We
No, for
needed
sure. It
we
needed a
needed
retelling.
that. The baseball ones will be quicker, but that needed to be on film somewhere.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and blitz through these 3 seasons of baseball because this third season probably doesn't have a whole lot to discuss, but we can start in season one.
Season one's probably got to be it's probably got to be just a carry walk off
Which
in
one
game four of the World Series.
for the World Series?
There wasn't like any funny thing. I mean, there's just always funny stuff going on during my games, but like nothing
So yeah, I
really
mean, we can
jumps
even give a
out.
brief recap of your season. You start 2-3. You rip off Kyle for Opie White at the
Yeah.
deadline. He pays a good chunk of the contract. You give up your first and second round pick. You turn your season around. You finish 6-4, in a really bad division. So the play-in game that you win just is easy. You win 8-0. You move on to you're the 15th seed in the playoffs. You play the Space Cowboys, who won your division in round one. You lose game one. You win game two in extra innings. Blow them out in game three. You sweep Hartford in round two. The Bees series in the LCS was incredible. It ends up going 7 games. You
Actually,
almost blow.
I'm going to change my vote already, by the way. It's Jeff McNeil.
Yeah,
That's
Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil makes an error in game one that loses the Bees game one and eventually probably the series. Bees win game two to even the series at one. Colby wins two in a row. Game four is 2-1 in 13 innings. He loses game five. He loses game six. It's 3-3. Game seven, he blows them out. World Series wins game one in 13 innings, 2-1. Loses game two, wins game three, which was a position player catching, a non-catcher catching game. You threw a no
yeah.
hitter. Kerry Carpenter hits a walk-off in game four to put you up 3-1, and that's where we'll stop discussing that season. For
We'll
you.
discuss game. We get kind of killed in game seven, and then I throw Tanner Houck out there to walk 30 more runs in or
You kind of
whatever.
got killed in games five, six, and seven. You lose game five, 5-1, game six, 7-1, and game seven was probably 8-1 before you threw in the towel. So
I think it might have even been 9 or 10, but yeah, I
it was
mean,
bad. So that is for sure, I would say, either the McNeil error that won game one of the LCS for the Devil Saints, or Kerry Carpenter had a walk off in game four of both the LCS and the World Series. So it's one of those three.
yeah,
Um,
I think it's just got to be Jeff McNeil.
yeah, I mean, for those who aren't familiar, we didn't have Twitch like, uh, all the vlogs going back to the VODs of every game going back before this current season. That's on the short list of moments that I'd want to see back
That game
again.
was over. It was the last out. The game was over.
Uh,
Oh, that would have been the last out.
no, it couldn't have been because he was the home team.
Yeah, it was
So
the
you,
top of the ninth.
oh, you're right. It was the ninth
I was
inning. That's
losing.
right. That's right. That wasn't. That
Um,
didn't end up losing the game. That sent the
yeah,
game to. That tied the game, and then you won it in the 10th. Correct.
yeah.
Season two.
Season two, easy one for me. Roman Anthony, 3-run home run, walk off the Pirates with the highest payroll, right?
Um,
They would have been the
I
highest
think they
payroll last
were.
year.
I think so. I
I think
don't
they were.
know.
If
It was
not
either
up
them or
there,
the.
It
they
might
were
be,
like
if
heavy
not, it was
favorites.
me. It was me or him.
Yeah, I think it may have been you actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't have that on hand, but
They were like heavy favorites. Not in that game specifically, but like in general
yeah,
for they were the heavy World Series favorites, I think. Well, no, they were probably not the World Series favorites, but like they were favored to be like a World Series contender, and the Devil
yeah.
Saints kind of were, but he had a better team than me. Um, and just that game in general, we talked about that the other day in the
Yeah,
Discord
you
too.
tied it in the bottom of the ninth with a bunt single from OJ with
With
two
two outs.
outs. That ties the game at three. In the top of the 10th inning, you walk Jazz Chisholm Jr. intentionally with one out to pitch to Aaron Judge, who grounds into two. And then in the bottom of the 10th inning, Roman
Loaded the
Anthony.
bases for Judge.
Yes. Well, yeah. So I don't know if I can't remember if it was first and second or second and third.
I think it
Um,
might have been first and second, which makes it way funnier,
yeah, if
but
it was second and third, it just sort of makes sense. But
yeah,
anyways, yes, Roman Anthony hits a walk-off homer in the bottom of 10th.
fucking nuke.
Um, again, we don't need to cover how that season ends.
Yeah.
Is there anything from? I mean, there's something from your season three that stands out to me, but if you want to pick a different one,
I assume you're talking about the Trace home run.
it's absolutely the Trace Homer for me.
I
But
actually, that's not my favorite home run from that game even. It was a great one. Obviously, the reaction was great. I'm glad we had that clip. But I like has Roman cranked one yet? And then he immediately,
that wasn't even that game. That was the game before.
oh, it was the game before?
That was
Okay.
game one.
Still. I was like, has Roman cranked one? And that was the same spot he hit the walk-off too. I
Yes, it
enjoyed that.
was. Yep.
It was literally the next pitch. I'm glad we have that clip too.
Yeah, a lot of good clips come from Devil Saints games. So,
Yeah.
all right. I think that does a good job of covering kind of
There's a long.
a lot of Devil Saints history.
To be fair, most of that was Calibron stuff.
Yeah, no, that was a story that needed to be retold.
Uh,
Um, Foxy, your playoff history is up and down, I would
Yeah,
say.
for sure.
That Ravens team, you end up throwing in week 18 to avoid the Dolphins. You play a really good Texans team. You make a coaching slip up, happens to the best of us. You decline a penalty.
what was that slip up?
So we're in the fourth quarter. I can
Ah,
find the
gonna- I can still picture it today.
yeah, here we go. So, tied 13-13 in the fourth quarter. Houston has the ball, 4th and 3 from right around midfield. Texans try to call a play and go for it on fourth down. They run out of time making a play call decision. They take a delay of game penalty. Fox thinks that they took it on purpose to give themselves more room to punt. So he declines the penalty. Houston then goes for it and gets it. They score a touchdown to go up 7. Ravens come back down the field, score a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. They take the lead, but the Texans go down and hit a field goal to win the game. And again, it's tough to know like intent on a delay of game penalty like that. It was definitely a mistake, but it's probably not like I'm sure it eats away at you, but it's not something that like is super egregious, like punting on 4th and 1 from midfield or something like that. But
Yeah, definitely not the worst, but I think I was thinking too much real life right there. You
yeah,
know?
definitely a situation where someone could do that in real life.
Yeah.
My thought on it was always, what's the real harm if they get an extra 5 yards to punt, as opposed to the harm of if they're going for it, they can now get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely didn't make sense. But when you have such a short amount of time, like I think you have 10 seconds to decide whether to accept or
Yeah.
decline a penalty. Having to get to that conclusion in your head in those 10 seconds with Mike delay and trying to process what the other team's talking about because they had two owners too, but they very often were not communicating their decisions to each other publicly. They were on a private phone call as well. So it's tough to judge intent, but yes, obviously something that you'd want to have back.
And
Your
we still
season,
battled back. We still
yeah,
got that. We drove down, went for two. I remember getting that 2 point conversion and being like super pumped, and then giving up that field goal sucked.
yeah, and then your season one postseason run was cut short in round one in 3 games. You played on the moon. That I remember being a fun series, but you lost in three, and then redeemed yourself completely in season two, the biggest postseason upset of all time by odds, beating the Pirates in 3 games. You can talk a little bit about that if you have any memories from that series.
I
Very
remember
low
it.
scoring series.
Yeah, I remember it being very close. I think what I won game one, right?
No, you lost game one.
Oh,
You lost game one 6-0.
who? Oh, damn. I don't remember that.
You won game two 2-1, and you won game three 3-2.
Yeah, I don't remember losing that. I thought I won the first and the third one, but I'm trying to think back to. Do you have it open? Like of who threw that game? Like, do you have that up?
Of who started?
Can you get it? Yeah. Of game
Uh,
one.
Ben Brown started game one.
Okay. Then Buto threw game two.
Yeah, and then Brown for game three.
Yeah,
So,
Ben
It was
Brown,
Ben Brown.
notable
Ben Brown. I
league.
can't believe I traded him.
oh shit, I got logged out of Game
God,
Changer. Let me see.
can't believe I traded him.
Let's.
Everybody has.
Everyone is traded.
I
Yeah,
know, but I
you've
never
been on
wanted
probably
to
10
trade him.
teams.
Everyone gets a
I
turn.
didn't
Here's Ben
want to
Brown.
trade him. And Lana wouldn't give him back to me.
Okay, so we can look at game. So game one of that series was 6-0. How early did it get out of hand? Pittsburgh scored one in the first, three in the second, so it was just kind of over from the jump. Ben Brown, 49 pitches. You used Foe had a lot too, so where he wasn't available for game two, he ate a lot of innings. And then Manoah basically ate the rest of the game for you,
Oh, I remember
which
that. I
which meant
remember
you
that.
could come back in game two with Buto,
Yeah.
and basically everyone in your bullpen except for Fohead. So Buto threw 91 pitches in six scoreless innings. You scored two in the very first inning. You gave up one run in the seventh inning. That was Vesia who gave it up. Then went Duran to Mason Miller to finish the game. You won 2-1. And then in game three, you went back to Ben Brown. Nobody scored until the fourth inning. Pittsburgh got two in the top of the fourth. You got three in the bottom of the fourth, and nobody scored again. You went
Hmm.
Ben Brown to Fohead to Mason Miller,
Mason Miller lockdown.
and that was it. You pull off the greatest or the biggest series upset by odds in league history.
Mason Miller definitely needs to be in the NGBA Hall of Fame
Yeah, and
when it's all
then we
over.
don't again we don't need to cover what happened from there.
Yeah, I don't even know how I lost that series. We just couldn't.
The first two games were crazy. You lost game one 9-2, and you won game two 11-4, just two blowouts, and then went on the road and scored a run in game three and a run in game four, lost 2-1 and 3-1.
Mm,
But I think kind of the feather in your cap was already set. So we'll kind of see what it looks like for you going into next year. I know you spent heavy this year, missed the playoffs for the first time since the original baseball season. So
that hurt. That
definitely,
hurt.
definitely differing from your norm of being, a contender. So I guess we'll see what that looks like next season. I know you mentioned you haven't watched a ton of the playoffs. Have you caught any games so far or anything that stuck out to you?
No, I haven't really caught any. I've been working so much. I haven't caught a single playoff game, but I definitely will be catching one here soon.
There's
Sure.
there's also a lot of different ways I think that people, and I don't think this is necessarily you, but ways that people deal with when they're eliminated, right? Some people consume everything and they just can't quit it. And other
Yeah.
people are like just enter a depression where they don't want. I remember the obvious example was Mr. Sean in season zero when his Orioles got eliminated, where he just like he couldn't watch the rest of those playoffs because like he's like that just should have been me.
Yeah, it
Um,
definitely took me. It definitely, I would say that was probably me for the first like week or so after, because I know my team was like very underwhelming this season, but part of me was like, well, maybe we're just gonna pull through in the playoffs and show up then. But or the play-ins, let's say. But
yeah. Colby, this is the first time you've missed the playoffs since football.
Mhm.
Obviously, this team wasn't built for that, so you've just kind of been.
What do you mean?
You took the roster took a season of development. They took a development season.
Still end up in a $400 roster, but
Still ended up being yeah, but I mean that was
might
still
not
yeah,
happen.
only
yeah, to get into the nitty-gritty on that. But
no, but so
I mean, we
yeah,
have
I
Blue
think
Yoki Superstar.
your approach has been a little bit different just because you weren't expecting to make the playoffs probably
Mhm.
with the roster. So you've I think probably been as engaged as you typically would be.
I think
Um,
I always that
yeah.
I have ADHD. And
Yeah, but I mean, there have been some there. I think both of you have been busy with real life work at
Mhm.
times and having to get things done, going to bed early or whatever it may be to get up early in the morning to go to your 9 to 5 or whatever it is. So some of that definitely takes precedent over fake baseball at times, which it should, I guess. Not
Nah,
morally,
probably
but
not.
for not morally, but I will pull up the bracket now. We've got some really fun series going on, some games that are some series that are wrapping up tomorrow and the next couple nights. Um, Foxy, this is probably your first look at what the bracket looks like. I'll pull it up a little bigger.
Everything's with
Uh,
my wagers in at least.
yeah. This is what the bracket currently looks like. I just kind of want to go through and chat through kind of where we are each series, especially hitting on the game threes. Two of them happening tomorrow night, one on Monday night, and then whatever's going on in the second round already down here. We can start in the top left. Atlanta over Seattle was something that felt sort of easy. A lot of people picked. I think everyone picked that in their bracket challenge bracket. I know there was some brief shit talk going on before the series started. Not a whole lot of note coming out of that series. Pensacola and Rocket City, again, haven't started yet, so they're probably a week out from game one. Any additional notes you guys thinking of from those four teams in that quadrant?
Well, the first thing is just, the Braves have no players. They have none, zero. Erickson uh, said that about them earlier in the year when he was still good. He sold off a good chunk of his team at some point, which is why this series was as lopsided as it was. I think if it's that original Mariners lineup and they're probably just not a 16 seed.
For
Not
sure.
that they're, like world beaters. I'm still probably picking the Braves over them, but that's a series that was at least worth watching, I think, if the Mariners didn't sell. Um,
I think the personal beef had more view. I mean, that's game one was a 14-1 Braves win, and I think in the seventh inning of a 14-1 game, we had like 15 Twitch viewers or something like that. So people were definitely invested in seeing how bad it was going to get. But no, it was not competitive, I would not say. Um,
I missed
I
those games. I was
yeah,
fine to just see the score.
I don't blame you on that. A lot of fun, at least what could have been a lot of fun in this Portland Binghamton series between father and son. Again, a series that didn't quite work out that way. Game one was just a nasty blowout, and then game two, a little bit lower scoring. Portland brings the tying run to the plate in the top of the ninth inning, but they scored, I think, 3 runs in 2 games, was never going to get it done. A lot of fun, in the build up to it, but kind of the on-field stuff not quite as investing as I would have hoped.
The
Um,
build-up's a little disappointing to me too, and I don't blame Keegan for this because I think he saw a daunting task and was like, I think he was pretty real with himself about the fact that Mr. Sean's team was just better because he spent,
Oh
you know,
yeah,
almost 3 grand or
yeah.
even with 3 grand.
it's like 25, I think, 2,500.
But like, yeah, I think it would have been a lot more interesting if they were a little more balanced in terms of the rosters. Not that Keegan's team's bad, and Keegan's team certainly could have taken a game or possibly even the series, but it felt a little lopsided and it kind of ruined a little bit of the build-up for me.
Yeah, I think too, like we talk about payrolls going in, and Mr. Sean mentioned like how this series felt like a lose-lose for him, right? He either wins the series and he was expected to win the series, or he loses the series and feels like an absolute asshole for losing to a team that spent, $2,000 less than he did.
Yeah,
But he gets it done. He's on to round two, and maybe in round two he'll get an opponent that he feels a win over would be
I don't
sufficient.
I don't think that's going to be the case.
I mean,
I don't think he feels good about a win until he sees the Braves or the Wahoos.
I
One of
yeah,
the
true.
I can get behind that. Obviously his second round matchup is TBD. Game three between Durham and El Paso tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Should be a really good one. You've got both knuckleballers on the mound. Matt Waldron for Durham and Toadsworth for El Paso. El Paso won game one, but lost game two of the series. How do you guys see that one playing out tomorrow night?
I think it'd be close. I mean, I know personally, I played El Paso this season, and it was a very tight game.
Yeah, who is it? Which four teams? So you were in the division with New York and El
New York,
Paso
El
and Salt
Paso.
Lake
Yep,
and Gwinnett.
yep.
So you played. What was the? I don't even remember the final score of that El Paso game. I think it
One
was
to
close
two.
though.
It
Yeah,
was 1-2.
yeah, that was a tight one. Colby.
Um, I picked the Bulls going into this series, obviously. The Chihuahuas seem to have like a magic about them. And don't get me wrong, they're a good team, and this is like a very even matchup, I think. Which we've talked about Matt outside of this, but the Chihuahuas in a game against me this season got an inside the park home run because Blue Noki had a stroke.
Yeah.
And shit like that just seems to like kind of follow them. I feel like maybe that's just me like having the 1 game sample size, and that's all I can think of because like other weird shit happened in that game too. Some of which helped me, but like I think that's going to propel them into the next round, where they will unfortunately probably lose 3 straight games to Binghamton.
Okay. So
More likely.
let's rephrase the question. You've got five teams other than Binghamton still alive on the left side of the bracket. Who is the most likely to beat Binghamton in the series?
Braves.
Braves.
Okay. Yeah, Atlanta
Uh,
10.
but
They're
I,
12-0 now.
Yeah, for the record though, like we're talking about the ponies like they're like some unstoppable force, which they in a sense they are. I think this is a good draw for them, whether it's Durham or El Paso. Pensacola and the Braves both can take him out. In a 7 game series, I think they can both get him.
Hmm.
It gets to the point. I mean, those two teams, like you just mentioned, are gonna have to play each other in round two if Pensacola can beat Rocket City. Binghamton will probably get an easier draw, either a Durham team that has used a lot of pitching to get through El Paso. They used Hunter Green over 60 pitches in game two, so he's gonna be out for the first 2 games of the Binghamton series. You would have to imagine that if push came to shove, Waldron would go over 60 pitches tomorrow if that game is late and close, and he's throwing a gem the way that he has multiple times this year. So I don't know. Maybe he pulls him at 60. Maybe he lets him go over 60. That's to be determined. He has to win the game first and foremost. But you'd have to imagine that Binghamton's going to get a team in round two that's used a lot of pitching.
Yep.
So, and a team that they may roll over. If Atlanta and Pensacola or Atlanta and Rocket City beat each other up in round two, you'd have to think that Binghamton has the advantage going into a series where they're going to be favored anyways. But so you both picked Atlanta that has the best chance of beating Binghamton in a seven-game series in the LCS.
Yes.
Let's move.
I want to apologize to Rocket City for being so dismissive of them. However, they're just not gonna win. So
Okay. We'll move on to the right side of the bracket then. So we've covered the game two that's going on tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. We'll skip New York and the Boomers for now to talk about Texas and Pittsburgh going down at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Texas won game one. They were up 3-1 going into the ninth inning, blew it, but then hit a walk-off homer immediately in the bottom half of the ninth. Pittsburgh won game two, 2-0. Who wins game three tomorrow?
who are the probables?
Texas, Jesus Luzardo, who started game one. And for Pittsburgh, TBD. It'll probably be either one of Nick Martinez or Nick Pivetta.
So he doesn't have DeGrom available.
DeGrom was unavailable for the whole series coming in. He went over 60
Dang.
pitches in game one, I want to say, of the play-ins, which cost him that bye game and then all three in this series. He'd be back for game one of the next round. And then Kershaw started game one for Pittsburgh and went over 60 pitches. So he threw game one. Scherzer threw game two and went over 60 pitches. So Pittsburgh's got Pivetta and Nick Martinez probably is one of those two will start game three.
I like Ray's team, and I picked them to go to the World Series. Unfortunately, I don't think I thought too hard about the pitching situation. Um, I think this pitching matchup is a little too lopsided. It's going to be the Rangers.
I think I'm sticking with the Pirates. I think Gray's got this one.
Okay. Neither of these guys have ever won a playoff series before. This is Texas's second trip. They lost to the Boomers back in season one, missed the playoffs last year. Ray has lost in the wild card round in 2 straight years, once to you, Foxy, in 3 games, but also lost to the Bees in a clean sweep back in season one. So one of these two guys will win their first ever playoff series tomorrow. They will play the winner of another game three on Monday night. This is probably this probably has a chance to break the viewership record Monday night, 8 o'clock. You have the two seed Yankees who spent $4,000 on their roster in the preseason, who dropped game one after going 9-1 in the regular season. They dropped game one to the Boomers with a 15 seed, who probably have an undoubted top 5 to 10 roster in the league. They had a rough regular season. They end up 15th. They draw a nightmare matchup in round one. They win game one behind Paul Skeens, but then do not score in game two. Who do you guys have in game three Monday night?
Who are the Yankees probably throwing?
Again, it could be a lot of different options. I've heard a lot of things discussed. Patches McQuigley the third started game one. You have two
Oh,
runs in 4 1/3 innings. It could be Tarek Skubal. It could also be an opener. I've heard rumors of that, potentially a reliever. And the Yankees going bullpen game in game three. Obviously, for the Boomers, it'll be Skeens.
listen. Everybody knows exactly what I'm picking here. It's the Boomers. It's the Boomers. Not only is Paul Skeens going to shove it up the Yankees' ass, I have a feeling he'll be going over 60 this time, so he
Oh, for
can
sure.
go a little deeper into this game.
You got burned.
Kyle also, you said the opener thing. Kyle's for sure going to overthink this. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
He's going to have just one. There's going to be a moment in the game where it might just be doing the opener and he gives up runs doing that. But there's gonna be a moment in the game where he just like it's gonna
Piled
be
it
a
up.
bonehead moment. Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
I
Yeah.
I don't
mean,
mean to pick on you. I don't, but
Foxy, who you got?
No, I'm thinking with the Boomers. I think the Yankees
Wow.
obviously have a great roster. I think this is I think this is their time to shine though, the Boomers. And I do agree with what Colby said. I do think that Kyle's gonna do something as far as a starter or pull a pitcher, being confident in his $4,000 roster. Which I mean, hey, you're not wrong. $4,000 roster, be confident in it, but you got to make it to the next game. You can't get too ahead of yourself. So I
Okay.
don't. I think he'll either if he starts patches, I think he'll be all right and probably make it through. But if he doesn't start patches, I think he might be regretting it.
Okay. So you
Matt, can I
both
get
take the
a quick
Boomers.
fact check on how much
But
his rotation specifically cost?
it's a lot.
Yeah, it's like that's a grand, right? It's like 3 grand.
Yeah,
Um,
if he, I guess
'Cause
he's
he's
gonna
paying
see this. So
62 for Scooble, 61 for Gilbert, and another 60 for Patches.
I guess he's like for sure gonna see this. So I hope me saying this doesn't make him change his mind. But you can't spend that much money, real US dollars, on a rotation and then be like, well, let's go with an opener.
Yeah, you can't. You can't. You got to throw. I mean, he's also got.
You got four guys available.
He's got Yamamoto available too.
Yeah.
You really
so
can't go wrong.
yeah.
You really can't. He's just got to pick one, And I think you got to look. I don't know the Boomers roster off the top of my head, but I think when you got to write two righties and two lefties available, obviously you can weigh your options of what they hit worse. You know.
Okay.
So
So, yeah, you guys both went with the Boomers, the underdog. They'll be at least a plus 200 favorite, regardless of what the Yankees do, starting wise. But I guess we'll see closer to Monday night what that answer ends up being.
I'm also
Um,
gonna add an additional part of my prediction. Emmanuel Clase specifically will blow the game
yeah, I mean that's something that's certainly been prevalent.
against his
From
former ownership group.
yeah, that would it would come full circle. Um, we can kind of hit on the bottom couple series quickly, at least from round one. Gwinnett got rid of Somerset pretty quickly. Gwinnett was up 6-0 in game one. They gave up three in the ninth, but held on. Game two, I believe, was 5-2. Somerset also brought the tying run to the plate in the bottom of the ninth of that year, in the top of the ninth of that game. But they got rid of Somerset decently quickly. Boston dispatched of Salt Lake in two. Game one was a blowout. Game two ended up going 11 innings. The Red Sox beating Salt Lake on a walk-off homer from Byron Buxton. That second round series started today. Boston won game one in 11 innings on the road, but Gwinnett has taken two in a row. Not quite sure when the last one or two games of that series are going to be played, but how do you guys see it playing out?
I believe I took the Red Sox winning this series in my bracket. I can't remember,
I
but
definitely the Red Sox in the bracket, but the
I'm pretty sure I
Stripers,
did too.
Yeah, I mean
Stripers are tough,
these teams
man.
met last year in round two. Much different rosters, of course. That Red Sox team ended up making it all the way to Game Six of the World Series, and the Stripers have gotten better since then. While the Red Sox have downsized the payroll a bit. The Red Sox won that series 3-1 last year. It was 1-1 after two, like it was this year. You guys both did take the Red Sox in your brackets.
Boston in five. Yeah.
What do you think the odds are of them coming back to win this series in five games?
Yeah, I'd like to change my prediction. Actually, I'm gonna go to the Strippers.
Spurs.
They I think the Red Sox take game four. I think Kodai Senga is just gonna be too much in game five. It
He was
feels like a big.
perfect. He was perfect through six, nope, not 16. 13 or 14 batters tonight when he hit the 60 pitch mark in game three.
Yeah, I
Um,
guess that would be something I would like to know. I'm sure Justin's not advertising his plans if there is a game five, but like, would he throw Kodai over the 60 and just make sure you get to the CS?
I don't want to, I'm going to be very careful with my words here because I don't want to sway him one way or another. My guess, based on what I've heard from him, is that this series for him is about getting through the series and investing the money that he would make from winning this series into his team from next year. I don't think there's a ton of confidence that if he does draw the Yankees and the LCS in a seven gamer, that he's going to win that series.
Fair
I
enough.
think if I had to guess what he would do, not saying anything about whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, I believe if he got to a game five, Senga would have no restrictions.
I don't have to be careful with my words because I don't, run the league. He should absolutely just let Senga go. You
Oh,
have
for
to win
sure.
that game.
For sure. You gotta play to make the next series. Whether you have confidence you're gonna beat a $4,000 team or not, you can't play that team if you don't get there.
I wasn't even factoring the Yankees into my until Matt said it. Like I wasn't even factoring that part in. I just think they
Yeah, no, you gotta let him
win
go.
the game.
It's an elimination game. You gotta let him go, no matter how many pitches he's at. If he's dealing, you let him deal.
Okay, so you guys both, well, Colby, you have Gwinnett winning in game five. Foxy, what do you have for that series?
I got Boston in five still.
Okay. So I think Boston wins game four and game five. Game five would be on the road. Okay. So
But before we move on from this part of the bracket, though, I just want to say I love Justin's shit talking because he tried to get Ethan into it, and Ethan kind of like didn't let him, which was a little. We had a discussion about that in the chat. But Justin has been all over the Yankees this year, and he was all over Erickson, and he tried to get all over Ethan. I haven't seen him say anything to Dowd yet, but Dowd's not super active, so that makes sense. Just wanted to say I appreciate Justin's like hater arc this year, and I've told
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, he went 9-1 in the regular season, lost the head-to-head tiebreaker to the Yankees, who won the division. But they could be on collision course for the LCS if the Yankees can get through the Boomers on Monday and then their next round, and Gwinnett takes care of business with the Red Sox. A couple more things before we wrap. Right side of the bracket, Yankees Boomers game 3 on Monday night. Does the winner of that game and that series make the World Series?
No, it was in the Pirates.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's I if the Boomers beat the Yankees, I feel like it's only baseball if they then lose the next series.
Wow, okay.
I feel like that's just kind of sports go. I feel like
Well,
that's just
and
kind of
assuming they
natural.
burn Skeens, they're not going to have him until
Yeah,
game four
Correct.
yeah.
of a 5 game series. So you get Skeens once in 5 games.
They have
Yeah.
George Kirby though. That's
All
what
right.
George
So
Kirby
I'll
does.
ask you then this. I'll have you each fill out a bracket from this point, and we'll see what you guys come up with. Colby, I'll start with you. Top left, obviously Atlanta already here. Pensacola, Rocket City in round one.
Pensacola.
Okay. So now you have Durham and El Paso game three tomorrow night.
Wawas.
Okay. So you have Atlanta and Pensacola up here in a 5-game series.
Braves in 5.
Braves in five. Then you have Binghamton and El Paso down here in a 5-game series.
Binghamton sweeps.
Binghamton sweeps. So Binghamton in three would then get 2 games of rest on Atlanta coming into the LCS.
Binghamton in 6.
Binghamton in six. Okay. So Binghamton wins in 6 games to make the World Series. We'll go to the other side of the bracket. Yankees Boomers game three Monday night.
Boomers.
You have the Boomers advancing the 15 seed. Texas and Pittsburgh game three tomorrow afternoon.
I know I said Rangers earlier, but I'm going back to the Buccos. I can't turn my back on Ray.
So the Pirates win game three. You then have Yankees and Pirates with the same amount of rest, or sorry, Boomers and Pirates with the same amount of rest going into a 5-game set.
Buccos in 5. I'm not sure how that plays out, but it's gonna be 5.
Okay, so then you have the Pirates and the LCS. Gwinnett up 2-1 on Boston in the divisional round.
Gwinnett in 5.
So you have Gwinnett in five and Pittsburgh in five, both of them coming off the same level of rest for a 7-game series.
I took the Buccos to go to the World Series in the bracket challenge, but that was mostly because I needed to try to steal points because I'm way behind. I think Strippers in 5 here. I think
Wow.
it's just too much for the. I think it's just gonna be too much for the Pirates.
So Gwinnett in the World Series against the Ponies. Gwinnett actually would have the rest advantage by a game going into said World Series. Who wins and in how many games?
I think it's Ponies in 5 or 6.
Okay. So
I'll go
Binghamton wins the World Series over
I'll go
Gwinnett.
6 out of respect for Justin's team, but
Okay. All right. Foxy, we'll turn to you now.
So I'm actually keeping mine basically the exact same, except mine's gonna be Boston over Gwinnett.
So you have Boston over Gwinnett, and then you have what do you have up here? You took the Boomers
I have
up here.
Boomers.
So you
I
have
have
Boomers in
Boomers.
three, and then you had the Pirates
Pittsburgh.
in three,
Yep.
and then you had the Pirates over the Boomers.
Yep.
So and then you Pirates Red Sox. Who do you have
I
going
have
to the
Red
World Series?
Sox.
You
I
have
have
the
Red
Red
Sox.
Sox going back to the World
I
Series.
have
Wow.
Red Sox.
Down 2 games to 1 in the division series. You've got them winning 2 in a row against Gwinnett. How many games does it take them to beat the Pirates in the LCS?
I think 6.
Six. Okay.
I think 6.
Left side of the bracket, anything changing for you from Colby's? He had
Nope.
Pensacola, nothing changing.
Nothing changing.
So Pensacola over Rocket City, Atlanta over
Yep.
Pensacola, El Paso over Durham, Binghamton over El Paso, Binghamton then over Atlanta, and then you have Binghamton and Boston in the World Series. Who wins and in how many games?
I'm thinking Bing in 4.
Wow, it's a sweep.
I'm thinking Bing in 4.
So you both have Binghamton to win the World Series. I think at present the Yankees actually somehow have better World Series odds. I think it's just because of what the path would look like after I think they project Binghamton to have a significantly harder LCS than New York would have should they get there, especially if Gwinnett and Boston end up going 5 games. But okay, I think we have successfully previewed everything that there is to happen. picks in the draft upcoming. Neither of you guys have yours, correct?
Nope.
Yeah, mine's in Wichita.
So not
I'm
even
working on getting a pick so I can get Michelotto.
not even worth discussing then.
I'm trying to get Colin with you.
Any sort of draft strategy. I think there's guys in the draft or girls even in the draft that every team like kind of has their eye on, like trying to grab a pick to go get, whether they made them with subs or just somebody funny that they want to go
Yeah,
get a pick
I
for.
just
But
said I'm very much working on trading for Michelotto.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Foxy's won Colin McHugh again, so I think it makes
And
sense. But
I think I also have to keep the John legacy going. Gotta get Quad John back.
yes, yeah, you made him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, I think with that we can wrap up. I'll give kind of both of you guys a chance at a final thought. We'll start with you, Foxy. What anything else that you want to say before we jump here?
No, I'm just ready for next season. I'm looking forward to being able to manage again. Ready for the off season. Off season's a blast.
I guess before we even get
Um,
there, WBC, have you had any thoughts about that?
no, I need some more information. I've been kind of tuned down
Okay.
on that for sure. But I'm ready for it.
Okay. So
But I
you
definitely need to get
confirmation that
more.
you will be participating.
Sure,
Okay.
I'm in for everything.
Alrighty. That's why
So
we love you.
I'll be coaching or doing whatever I got to do.
Alrighty. Final thought, Colby?
Yeah, I got a few. Shout out to you.
Go ahead.
Uh, I realized when we were doing our breakdown of like Devil Saints stuff, Orenthal James Simpson did not come up once.
Nope, not a single time.
Not once.
So I think we gotta shout him out a little bit.
Yep.
Best running back in the NFL. Fuck Michelle Obama. He's better. Uh, Obviously, he was a Devil Saint last season. We plan to bring him back next year. We had to sell him off as part of the great sale this year, but we love Orenthal James Simpson around these parts. Great man. Rest in peace. Didn't do it.
We didn't even mention the fact that what you traded one of your picks for. What you
Oh
traded your
yeah,
year
no,
four first round pick
I
for.
traded one of my year four first round pick to the league for
Yes.
a copy of If I Did It, which I don't have. I think it's in my car right now. Otherwise, I would
Okay. Yeah,
show it
yeah.
off.
Yep.
But so yeah, there's that. WBC, since I got brought up, this is already public knowledge, but I will be buying the WAPs. I'm gonna be the WAPs, those greaseball guinea dago WAP motherfuckers. I can say it because I'm a quarter Italian. Uh, and what was the other thing? What was the other thing that Foxy said?
Something draft related,
Off
something
season, next
off
season.
season.
Well,
Ready
I'm
to
getting
manage
Nick
again.
Lodolo and the oh yeah, this is also public knowledge. This is what I was gonna say. This is my final thought. Public knowledge already. 'Cause I'm telling everybody, but the Devil Saints are gonna be back next year. Like we are, we're spending again. Okay, I'm not at risk of getting evicted right now, so I can afford to play.
Alrighty. Well, I think that covers everything. I've heard rumors that Keegan may be jumping on a pod with me tomorrow night to put together a website that details everyone's connections in this league and how everyone got here, which I think will
Nice.
be a pretty fun project if it comes to fruition. I don't know exact. Some of them are really hazy for me though, because like you talk about like Keegan inviting obviously David, who knows all these guys from high school, whether like they go under Keegan, who goes under. I don't know. We'll figure it out if that pod actually happens. But I'm glad we got to talk a little bit of playoffs before a couple of really big games
Mhm.
tomorrow.
Huge.
Pittsburgh in Texas at 2 o'clock, and El Paso and Durham 8 o'clock, and then obviously don't forget about New York and the Boomers 8 p.m. on
Monday.
Monday, which I'm
I'll
predicting
be there.
probably break the attendance record, or the Twitch viewership record. I think the number to beat is 20 viewers at once.
It's impressive we
So
got 20. You're talking about the season one World Series, right? Game seven.
I
You
don't.
said zero, I
So
mean
well, our
0.
Twitch viewership record is 20. That was hit during I think Boomers Yankees game one. I
Mhm.
can actually look. I can pull that up. I'll have that be my final thought. Let me pull up some stream summaries and see. Okay, so today, no, we had 14 viewers max during Patriots and Stripers. This is 15. There are a max of 15 viewers from or not from Boomers Yankees game two. And then yes, 20 viewers was the max from Boomers and Yankees game one. That is the most we have had at a single game. 16 during Bees Red Sox game, well, either one or two. They played those back to back, so I don't really know.
I think it was
But
game two because I was bumping it in the Discord. I was like, this game's really fun. You guys should come watch.
so yeah, probably game two. So yes, the viewership record, and I don't know how many people, how many spectators we had at game seven. I don't know that it was 20, because we only had 30 teams at that point. But we were probably in the teens in terms of viewers from that game. But yes, my prediction is that we will break the attendance record or the viewership record Monday night Yankees Boomers game three, especially if it comes down to the wire.
I would think so,
Um,
yeah.
that'll be my guess.
All right. Good
All right,
pod.
we'll
Shout
do
out
this
to them.
again. Colby will be back.
Sure.
Foxy will be back. Probably not as often, but Colby will for sure be back. He'll be a mainstay, I think,
Oh yeah.
on these, just because I know Foxy, you work late nights a decent bit, right?
Yeah, certain days. Getting better though. So we'll see.
We'll get you back on during Southern season for sure to
Let's
talk
do it.
Sun Belt.
We
Oh,
gotta do
dude,
a
wait, live
in
pod from
Southern
Big
live
Joe?
pod from the
We should
borough.
definitely yeah, the three of us are for sure gonna go to a Southern game this fall.
They actually just announced when that well, not that game, but the Clemson game for Southern is at 7:30. Colby, it's a night
Oh,
game.
cool. We always get night games for that group of five game for some
Yeah, it's
reason.
kind of weird.
I
It's on
don't hate,
it's
I don't hate it, but that means I probably have to figure out if I'm staying in Clemson or not.
Okay. Do you have season tickets?
I'm not sure if I'm getting them this year. I used to get them. I didn't get them last year because I was, in the process of getting evicted. But my buddy that I usually go with, I texted him the other day and was like, "Hey, are we still doing that?" And I'm not sure. I might be out because I didn't do it with them last year. So,
All right. Well, we'll do this again. If not, I promise it will not be 2 years between pods. I'm hoping it's literally 24 hours. So I don't
uh,
know, but I appreciate you guys for hopping on. I'll get this
yes,
posted at some
sir.
point, and we'll do it again soon.
yes, sir.
True.